Hey up everybody, welcome back to the Audio Cycling YouTube channel, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Bretagne Classic, the next round of the Super Classico. Obviously, the VELOGAMES Spain is going on at the moment, but it's important for us Super Classico players to still keep on top of it. After all, this is a Category 2 race, so it's going to be important to keep those points rolling in, because it is going to still score you quite a lot of points, especially if you can get it correct as to who might be in an attacking group, because that's usually how this race goes, is an attacking kind of group of, a few riders, anywhere between kind of 3 to 7, 8 get away and then they contest a victory. We have seen sprints in the past, that year where Wout van Aert won and Axel Laurence was in second place, but it really depends how you think the race is going to pan out for who you select. But I think that honestly all of these are pretty decent choices. De Lee was looking good in the Tour of Denmark recently, especially the really long, punchy stage. I think it was the one which Magnus Cort Nielsen eventually won. But De Lee is going to be the guy who, is he going to be able to infiltrate and move in the front? I think that's a kind of a 50-50, but is he going to likely be in that group behind, sweeping up that kind of 6th place from the sprint behind? Yes. I also see that being Laporte's role as well. I see these guys really being like top 10 candidates, especially since Laporte was so good in the Olympic road race as well. He's obviously looking in really good form, but he hasn't ever really performed in this race before. I'm not sure if that's because he's always been working for somebody else or whether it's just not a race suited to him. So I'd say that De Lee's a little bit of the safer choice if you're going for one of those two. And you got Hirschi and Pidcock. Hirschi's the man in form at the moment, obviously going to Tudor Pro Cycling next year, along with Alaphilippe, funnily enough. And Hirschi won San Sebastian, and therefore he's a great choice for this race. He's obviously in fantastic form. Pidcock, a little bit unknown. We haven't seen him since the road race at the Olympics, so I'm not sure what to make of that. He seems, he said he was like mentally kind of drained from the whole transfer talks around him. So honestly, I don't really know what to expect from him. He is probably building up to do well in the World Championships, so I think that he should be in decent form, but I would say that Hirschi is the safer choice of those two. But overall, all of those four are pretty decent choices. Alaphilippe, I think, is a great choice. Him and Hirschi were at their San Sebastian head-to-head teammates to be next year, but I think that we will see Alaphilippe towards the front of the race. He has, I can't remember, did he win this race? Or was it he got beaten by Kuznefroy a few years ago, 2021? I think Alaphilippe's very suited to this race, and I think he's a good choice. But no, should in theory be, he could be that random guy who's in that front group, who nobody picks, but he ends up coming like 3rd or 4th. To be honest, I just think that somebody like Alaphilippe is a safer choice. I think that Madouas is also a really good choice, considering that he was also on the podium at the Olympics. So I think that he's a good choice alongside Alaphilippe as those kind of attacking options. Paulus as well, he was in that front group in San Sebastian. He finished top 10 there, so he's obviously in decent form. Again, one who people might sleep on, so Paulus could definitely be a little bit of a differential. You've got Matthews in here as well. He is very much like how I consider De Lee and Laporte, although probably a bit more like Laporte, where he will be in that group behind, sprinting for the minor places of the top 10. So he's a very safe option. He's done very well in this race multiple times, but I don't think he would be in a front move. And that's really how I see this race panning out, is that we're going to see an attacking style of race. We've just got too many teams here with attackers where nobody's going to want this to come down to some sort of sprint. I think it'll be far too aggressive a style of race for that to be the case. Arambarou, always a good puncher to have on your team, nice and safe, very much like Matthews. He'll be competing for those top 10 placings, but I don't think he'll be in that front split that I'm imagining in my head. I think Kuznefroy could be in that front split. Ever the enigma is Benoit Kuznefroy. Does really bad in like loads of races, and then bang, out of nowhere, just goes and does really well in a big race. And he's won this race in the past. He's done very well, and therefore I think that Kuznefroy can't be written off. I've written him off too many times, and I'm not going to do it this time. I think that he is a decent choice, even if his recent results don't really reflect that. Søren Kragh Andersen was very good in the Tour of Denmark, and therefore definitely one worth considering putting on your team. him versus Kuznetsov, I think, is kind of, they're sort of the rogue ones who might, again, like Benoit, infiltrate that front move, which not a lot of people will be expecting. Ulissi, very strong during the Tour of Poland. How he'll do here is again, it's a little bit unknown to me. I think they'll be mostly around Hershey, but in theory, Ulissi is a very good choice for this race. It's just that usually when it comes to these races, he never does that well. I don't know why. It's just a bit of a historical trend. I reckon they'll go with Hershey, but I do think that UE should try and get, or I reckon they will get 2 riders in that front group. It could be Ulissi, it could be somebody like Kristen as well, though, so just watch out for him as well. As into the 16 credits, I like Van Hills, even if recently his results haven't looked that great. He has been so good at these one-day races, especially like the long ones. Van Hills, obviously he worked for Van Eytveld, sorry, in San Sebastian. And I think that Van Hills is looking in pretty decent form, so I'm going to say that he is a good choice for you to be having, especially since his one-day race result history this year is just almost second to none. Or maybe Van der Poel, Sorry, I forgot about him. But I think that Van Hills is a super good choice. People might be tempted by Maggie after his Tour of Denmark performance, but he just doesn't do well in one-day races, guys. I would probably stay away from him. Gregoire, again, very decent during Tour of Polonia. Good one-day racer, good puncher. It'll be him or Madouas in that front group, and I favour Madouas just because it's like his home race. He actually won this race last year, if anybody forgot. But Gregoire, he's a young, exciting talent, but he wasn't like as dominant in Polonia as I thought, so that's a little bit holding me back in wanting to pick him. Grossschartner was actually 3rd in this race last year, which is completely mad. I don't know how that happened, but Grossschartner, I guess that you could include him in there. Morgado, he's at the Tour de l'Avenir at the moment, and he's currently getting spanked by people who he should be beating. So I don't think he's good. I'm not sure about Piffy. I would say that he, again, kind of like Matthews, will be fighting for those minor placings of the top 10. I think that Marijn van den Berg will be doing the same there. Quinn Simmons as well. They'll be fighting for placings inside the top 10. Albanese, again, he's in that bracket. Which way round these guys are going to finish, I don't really know. I just think that that's going to be how it's going to pan out. Mikko Frolic-Honore, obviously, he's podiumed this race in the past when he rode for Quick-Step. He was good during Tour of Polonia. He was actually up there quite a bit. So I think he's, again, one to be throwing into the mix for somebody who might infiltrate that front move. They've also got Nerurke here and Paulus. I reckon they'd rally around Paulus, so it's a little bit risky going for a secondary leader, but this can be a move where, fortune favours the brave, and Honore has done well in this race in the past, so it's certainly worthwhile mentioning him. 10 credit riders, Laurence, obviously, podium finisher in this race. Last time we saw him race was in the Tour de France, where he didn't do that great, but he's done very well in this race in the past, and I expect he'll want to do well here again because it's his style of race at the end of the day. So I'm going to say that Laurence is a decent pick, considering he's also 10 credits, which is quite cheap, in my opinion, for somebody who has done really well in this race in the past and is going to be the leader for Alpecin de Koning in this race. Jan Christen, again, a rider who I think he could do well in this race, or he'll just do nothing. It's hard to say, to be honest, but whenever it comes to one-day races, Jan Christen just has this ability to always do well. He just has this never-say-die attitude where he always keeps attacking, and that really helps him out. And especially if he's in that front group with, say, Hershey or something, or Ulissi or whoever, if UE get 2 riders in there, Christen could just send it off the front and nobody marks him and he just goes and solos to victory. That's kind of like manifesting in my mind, is that when you get that elite group forming, it's always the person who does a little bit of a bold move who usually wins, just because they don't really trust their sprint. And if you've got another UE rider marking the group behind, then nobody will want to work. So Christen I quite like as a bit of a Hail Mary pick. Magnier might sprint if he's still in that group behind and might get assist points for Alaphilippe as well. But obviously the big boy himself, Thibaut Nace, 8 credits. Obviously, I know these prices are set at the start of the year, but what, Thibaut Nace at 8 credits is a hard one to pass up. As somebody who I'd say is a top 3 favourite for this race. I know he hasn't done races of this distance a lot, but did you see how he looked in the Tour of Poland? Like, this guy is insane. So I think that Thibaut Nace is a good pick for people's teams. Then you got some outsiders, Sean Quinn, Nick Schultz, possibly as well. Vauquelin, certainly worthwhile thinking about as well. Some 6 credits because you might well need some of these guys as well, I guess. You've got Lapera, obviously French champ. He won the, what was it called, Polynormandy, something like that the other day. So he's certainly one to be looking at. Nerurka, very good during stage 1 of the Tour of Poland, but not much past that. Not really sure what happened there. He was, he was on my team. Not really sure what happened, but maybe he'll be working for Paulus. But he is, again, such a sensational talent. Maybe he'll get his own opportunity to sprint. I reckon he'll be like a top 20, personally. I'm not sure if he'll make that front group. Tesfatsion, great puncher. I'm not sure if he's been injured recently, but I think that if Lidl Trek are going to go with anybody, it would probably be him. You got Wandal. He came, he got about top 10 twice in the Tour of Poland, and he's a good puncher. He was also, I think he was like top 5 last year, top 10 last year. So he's worthwhile looking at as well. And also Zambonini. Byron Victoria say that he is like co-leader with Peo Bilbao here, but Zambonini was insanely good. Like best 6 credit rider in the Tour of Poland. He was really punching above his weight, in my opinion, at the Tour of Poland. And that's just the sort of form which is hard to look over, to be honest with you. Decathlon, we've got Baudin here as well. If you still think that he can, repeat what he did in the Giro d'Italia, where he did an insane performance there. De Pretto, again, one of these who seems pretty undervalued, obviously, because these were done at the start of the year. But Matthews is here, but if not, then De Pretto will probably sprint. But again, you're kind of clutching at straws here. Bora, they will probably get a guy in the break. Either Hayek or Herzog, personally, will be the ones I think could get up there. Barring guys for assist points on, if you think Zambonini's going to win, but I think they're just going to be break formation phase riders. Sverchek for the assist points on Alaphilippe, and Alessandro Vera, because I think he was top 20 in Tour of Poland, so maybe he could sneak like a top 25 or something like that. This is my team at the moment. I've got just a whole team of punchers, people to get in that winning move that I'm envisioning. So I've got Hershey and Alaphilippe, Nace, Van Hills, Madouas, Jan Christen. If I was to change this team, I might go with, instead of Madouas, I might go with a 24 credit rider in like DeLee or Pidcock if I'm, feeling especially brave. And then I'd probably take off Christen and I'd put on Zambonini, honestly, of all of the 6 credits. I might go with something like that. Van Hills' results haven't been, outstanding. Maybe I might decide to go with Kuznetsov here. And then revert back to Madouas or Paulus or whatever. But I can tell you right now, my Hershey, Alaphilippe and Thibaut Nace trifecta is pretty well locked in. It's just these other 3 which I'm a little bit questioning. But let me know what you're thinking in the comments section down below. And also, before I forget, wall charts. I have ordered the first batch of wall charts. They are coming in. I'm also designing a website. I just need those to arrive so I can take pictures so I can actually put those on the website. So it doesn't look like I'm just, trying to, do something counterfeit or something like that. But anyway, those things are on their way. So those of you who are wanting those will be arriving pretty soon. And yeah, put your teams in the comment section. Let me know what you think about my team. And all that is left to say is to stay safe out there. And I will see you in the next video. Salut.